The mist was thick that morning. The human walked slowly through the alien forest, his boots sinking into soft, wet ground. Giant trees stood tall around him, their trunks glowing faintly with blue lines. Strange sounds echoed in the distance, hisses, clicks, and the deep growl of something far away. He wasn't lost, but he was alone. This planet was not safe, but it had secrets, rare herbs, alien minerals, and life forms that no one on Earth had ever seen. He was here to study, to collect, to survive. Then he heard it. A voice. Small. Crying. He stopped. Help. It was faint. It came from behind a thick wall of fog. Hello? He called out. Please, someone, help my mom. A child's voice. He dropped his bag and ran toward the sound. Branches whipped against his arms. Vines tangled around his boots. The mist grew thicker. He pushed through. Then he saw her. A small girl, maybe 6 years old, was standing near a fallen log. She wasn't human. Her skin was pale lavender. Her eyes were wide and glowing blue. Her hair was white, long and messy. She wore a torn cloak and had no shoes. Tears ran down her cheeks. Please, she said, voice shaking. My mother is trapped. You're a human, right? Can you help? He knelt slowly. Yes, I'm human. Are you hurt? She shook her head. Not me, but my... she's dying. The human looked into the forest beyond her. How far is she? Not far. Just through there, the girl said, pointing into the deeper mist. He hesitated. This could be a trick, a trap. He didn't know this species, but her hands were shaking, her eyes full of fear. He stood and nodded. Take me. The girl grabbed his hand and they moved fast through the forest. The trees grew taller here, the roots larger, the air colder. He noticed the ground changing. It was no longer soft. It was sticky, like sap. His boots made soft sucking noises. He stopped. What is this place? She looked back. Hunters come here. They use traps. My mom got caught in one. What kind of trap? I don't know. But it has thorns. They moved again. Suddenly the girl pointed ahead, there. Through the fog, the human saw a shape on the ground. Long, curled, breathing weakly. It was a woman. The girl's mother. She was beautiful in an alien way. Tall, slender, with long limbs and glowing patterns on her skin. But she was not moving. Much. Her body was wrapped in thick, living vines, sharp thorns dug deep into her arms and legs. Blood, dark purple, leaked from the wounds. The human ran forward, but the little girl grabbed his arm. Don't step close, she said. The vines move, they feel motion. They squeeze tighter when someone comes near. He crouched and stared at the trap. It wasn't made by machines. This was organic, a living snare. He picked up a small stone and tossed it near the vines. Snap! The vines twitched and pulled tighter around the mother's body. She let out a soft cry of pain. The child covered her mouth, eyes wide with fear. The human cursed under his breath. He needed a plan. He studied the trap for a minute. If it reacted to movement and vibration, maybe he could distract it. He pulled a metal rod from his pack, tied a small buzzing tool to the end, and placed it near the edge of the clearing. Then, he backed away and turned the tool on remotely. The buzzing started. The vines twitched again. This time toward the noise. Now was the chance. He stepped forward carefully, one slow step at a time. The thorns around the mother shifted but did not tighten. Closer. He reached her side. Her eyes fluttered open. She whispered, "You're not from here." "No," he said. "But your daughter found me. I'm here to help." Her hand trembled. "The trap. It learns. Hurry." He pulled out his knife, coated the blade with plant oil from his pack, and started cutting the vines. Slow, quiet, careful. One vine. Two. Suddenly, crack. A branch snapped behind him. He spun around. Red eyes in the mist, watching. Someone else was here. The vines around the mother shivered again, and far behind them, something moved. Fast. The forest was no longer silent. The red eyes in the mist vanished. But the human now knew. He wasn't alone. The forest felt colder. The alien mother was still trapped, her body shaking weakly. Blood trickled from her arm. The vines had pierced deep under her skin, wrapped around her ribs and pressed into her neck. Almost there, the human whispered, cutting another thick vine. The alien girl stood behind him, quiet as a shadow. Her small hands were pressed together, lips trembling. Her glowing blue eyes kept scanning the trees. Why? Is this trap still alive? The human asked. The girl answered, It's not just a trap. It's part of the forest. My people say it was grown by hunters long ago. It feeds on pain. The human frowned. That's sick. He looked at the last big vine. It was thick and pulsing slightly, as if it had a heartbeat. The mother opened her eyes again. Don't touch the core vine, she whispered. Why? It controls the others. Cut it wrong. They all snapped tight. The human nodded. He pulled a metal ring from his bag and activated a small laser torch. The heat could cut without vibration. Quiet. Clean. He leaned in, just as he aimed the laser. Hiss! The vine moved. He jumped back. The mother groaned. The vine didn't squeeze, but it was close then, through the trees. A low growl. The human turned quickly. A dark shape stepped forward. A tall figure with bone armor, glowing red eyes and a long weapon that looked like a cross between a spear and a rifle. The hunter. He stood silently, watching. The child gasped. He followed us. The hunter raised one hand slowly, not to attack, but to warn. He pointed at the human, then at the mother. Then he spoke in a strange, broken voice. She is not yours. The human stood tall, holding his blade. I'm not here to take her, I'm here to save her. The hunter tilted his head. No save, only catch, the girl cried. Please, let her go, she did nothing wrong. The hunter said nothing. He stepped closer. The vines twitched again, sensing motion. The human raised a hand. Stop, the trap reacts to movement. But the hunter didn't. Stop, the human had no choice. He pulled out a small sound bomb from his pouch and threw it to the right. Boom! A loud burst echoed through the trees. The hunter flinched, turning toward the sound. The vines shivered, but they didn't tighten. The human took that moment, just a few seconds, and slashed the final side vines, freeing the mother's arms and legs. Got it, he said, grabbing her quickly. She cried out in pain, but she was free. But the core vine was still wrapped around her stomach, and it began to glow. The girl screamed, It's waking up fully. The hunter turned back, now angry. He aimed his spear gun. The human didn't wait. He pulled the alien woman into his arms and rolled backward, away from the glowing vine. Too late. The vine struck like a whip, cracking the air, but missed them, by inches. The hunter fired, but the blast hit only dirt. The child shouted, Run! The vine is going wild! They scrambled back through the trees. Behind them, the vine trap exploded, branches shattering, thorns flying through the air like knives. The hunter screamed in pain as a thorn struck his leg. The jungle itself seemed to roar. Birds flew, trees shook, leaves rained down. The human and the girl dragged the wounded mother behind a large stone wall covered in moss. He looked at her body. She was bleeding badly, her breathing shallow. She's not going to last long, he said. The girl looked at him with fear. What do we do? The mother coughed weakly. There is one place, the healing spring, but it's far. Where? He asked. She pointed toward the deeper jungle. Through the roots, past the sleeping stones. She passed out. The girl clutched her mother's hand tightly. Don't die, please. The human stood and scanned the trees. The hunter was gone. But he would return. And next time, he wouldn't watch. He would kill. The human looked down at the mother and her child. He didn't know them. He didn't owe them anything. But he had made a choice. "I'll get her to the spring," he said. The little girl looked up at him, eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, human." He picked the woman up in his arms. She was tall but light. Her body was cold now. He turned toward the deep jungle. "We don't have much time." And they vanished into the mist once more, carrying hope, pain, and the heavy weight of a dying alien mother. The deeper jungle was darker. Tall, crooked trees blocked the sunlight. Their roots twisted like giant claws across the muddy ground. Strange flowers opened and closed slowly, breathing like animals. Insects with crystal wings flew in silent swarms. The human moved carefully, carrying the wounded alien mother in his arms. Her body was limp, her skin cold, and her breathing faint. Every few steps he looked back to check if the little girl was keeping up. She followed closely, barefoot and tired but silent. Her face was full of worry. "Are we close?" he asked softly. She nodded. "Soon, but we must go through the place, where the forest sleeps." He didn't understand what that meant, but he trusted her. She had no reason to lie. They crossed a narrow path between two glowing stone towers. Vines covered them, but symbols still pulsed beneath the surface. Ancient, alien writing forgotten by time. The child whispered, "No one comes here. Even animals stay away." He looked around. It was too quiet. No birds, no wind, no sound. The only noise was the faint cough of the alien mother in his arms. Then, snap. A stick broke behind them. The human froze. He turned slowly. No one was there. He looked up into the trees. Nothing, but something felt wrong. He crouched behind a thick root and motioned for the child to stay low. "Stay quiet. Don't move." She obeyed instantly, hiding behind the root, eyes wide. The human laid the mother down gently, covering her with part of his jacket. Then he stepped forward, gripping his knife. Every movement was slow. Every sound mattered. The forest whispered again. A breeze moved past, but it wasn't wind. Something was watching. Then, between the trees, he saw him. The hunter. Silent. Still. Standing half-shadowed behind a tree trunk. His body was covered in armor made from bones and vines. A mask covered his face. Only his glowing red eyes could be seen beneath the hood. He held no weapon in his hands now, but one was slung across his back. The human didn't speak. He simply raised his blade. "I don't want to fight," he said. "But I will if I have." To the hunter tilted his head. He didn't step forward. He didn't step back. Then, slowly, he raised his left hand. 2 fingers lifted. A hunter's signal. "I see you." The human replied by tapping his chest twice. "I'm not afraid." The alien nodded once, then pointed toward the woman lying behind the tree. "She is marked," the hunter said in a broken, low voice. "Marked for what?" the human asked. "Marked for sacrifice." The human's jaw tightened. "By who?" "By the tribe of Thornblood. Her power is not hers alone." She ran, took the child, broke the bond. The human's voice turned sharp. "She didn't break anything. She's a mother trying to protect her child." The hunter tilted his head again. "She ran. But power calls power. You carry her scent now. The forest sees you." The human didn't understand everything, but he understood one thing. They were being hunted for more than just survival. There was history behind this, a story he didn't know yet. The hunter stepped closer. "No one helps her and lives," he said. The human took one step forward. "I'm not no one." Then, the child cried out behind them. They both turned. A glowing vine had wrapped around her leg, trying to pull her down into the roots. The mother groaned, barely conscious. The human rushed back, slicing the vine before it pulled tighter. The child fell into his arms, crying. It tried to eat me. The hunter watched quietly from a distance. Then, he laughed, a cold, soft laugh. This forest chooses who belongs, he said. You are not chosen. The human held the child close and looked up. I don't care what this forest chooses. Then he shouted, I choose them. The hunters. Red eyes flashed. For a moment it looked like he might attack, but instead, he bowed, a slow, deep motion, then turned, and vanished into the mist. Not a sound. Not a trace. Gone. The child looked up. What just happened? The human looked around. I think he let us go. The girl sniffled. Why? I don't know. Maybe because I didn't run. He looked back to the trees, or maybe because he saw something different in the human, not prey, not enemy, but something the jungle hadn't seen in a long time, a protector. They moved on again. Slower now. The trees began to thin. Ahead, a soft blue light glowed through the mist. The girl pointed. That's the place, the healing spring. The human nodded. We're almost there, but deep in the trees. The hunter watched one last time, then whispered into his comms. The forest accepts the human. The bond is forming. Prepare the next test. The healing spring was more than just water. It was alive. A wide pool sat in the middle of the jungle, glowing soft blue under a canopy of silver-leaf trees. Mist floated above the surface like breath from a sleeping beast. The air was warmer here. Still. Sacred. The alien child ran ahead to the edge of the spring. This is it. This is where my mother will heal. The human followed, still carrying the mother. Her breathing was weak. Her skin was ice cold. He knelt by the pool and slowly laid her down on a flat stone beside the water. She doesn't have much time, he said. The girl's eyes filled with tears. Please do something. He dipped a cloth in the glowing water and touched it gently to the mother's wounds. The moment the liquid touched her skin, her body twitched. The lines across her skin pulsed with sudden light. She's reacting, he whispered. It's working. But then, a sound behind them. Footsteps. Not one. Not two. Three. The human spun around, blade ready. 3 alien hunters stepped through the trees. Tall, armored, silent, and behind them came him, the red-eyed hunter, the one who had watched. Waited. Now. He came to speak. The child grabbed the human's arm. He followed us again. The lead hunter stepped forward and pointed his long spear toward the mother's body. She does not belong here, he said in a deep, calm voice. She is dying, the human said. This is the only place that can save her. She is marked. You know this, the hunter replied. She ran from the bond. She took the child. She carries stolen power. The human stepped in front of the mother and child. I don't care about your politics. I care about saving lives. The hunter's grip tightened on his spear. Then you must make a choice, let her die or fight for her. A long silence. The human didn't move. What kind of fight? The red-eyed hunter stepped forward now. He was older, wiser. His armor was carved with symbols that told of 100 kills. A trial of blood and honor, he said. You and I, one-on-one. No weapons but what the forest gives. If I win? The human asked. She is yours. The bond is forgiven, she will be left in peace, and if I lose? The red-eyed hunter looked at the child. She becomes one of us, trained, taken. The mother dies, and you do not leave. The girl gasped and clung to his side. No, she whispered. Please. The human stared at the hunter, then down, at the girl, then at the mother, and he knew there was no way out of this. So he nodded. I accept. They formed a circle near the spring. The other hunters watched from the shadows, silent, respectful. The human stepped forward, barefoot, armed only with a short branch he sharpened to a point. The red-eyed hunter stepped in across from him. No armor now, only clawed hands, sharp and fast. The jungle held its breath. And then, they charged. The hunter struck first, a wide slash. The human ducked and stabbed low but missed. A second strike, a punch to the ribs. The human fell back. He rolled, picked up a stone, and threw. It fast crack. It hit the hunter's leg. He used the moment to rush forward and tackled him. They rolled across the ground, kicking up dirt and sparks. The human bit down on his pain, using every ounce of instinct. He grabbed a vine, pulled it loose, and wrapped it around the hunter's arm. The hunter roared and threw him off. Blood dripped from both now. Still, they circled again. The red-eyed hunter grinned behind his mask. "You fight well, for a human." "I fight to protect," he replied. "That's what we do." This time he moved first, faking high, striking low. A knee to the gut. The hunter doubled over. The human grabbed the vine again, twisted it tight, and pulled the hunter to the ground. He knelt on his chest, raised the pointed stick, and stopped. The hunter didn't move. The jungle waited. But the human dropped the weapon. "I win," he said, "but I won't kill you." The hunter looked up, breathing heavy. Slowly. He smiled. "Then the forest was right to watch you." The circle broke. The other hunters stepped forward, bowed to the human, and vanished into the trees. The red-eyed hunter stood, holding his side. He looked at the alien child, then at the mother. "You saved them. Not just by fighting, but by choosing not to kill." He turned to leave, then added, "If ever you need us, call the trees." Then he disappeared into the green mist. The human ran back to the spring. The child was sobbing beside her mother. "Is she gone?" He knelt and touched her neck, a faint pulse. "No, she's still here." He gently lifted her and stepped into the spring. The water glowed brighter the moment he entered. The light surrounded them. The mother's body began to float. Her wounds closed slowly. Her chest rose. Then, her eyes opened. She looked at him and smiled. "You won." He nodded. "We did." The child screamed in joy, hugging them both. Tears mixed with laughter. The jungle sighed. And for the first time in a long time, no one was watching. The spring was calm again. The stars above began to blink through the mist as night approached. Fireflies floated gently over the healing water like tiny lights from another world. The alien mother rested on a bed of thick leaves and glowing moss at the edge of the pool. Her eyes were open now, soft but full of memory. The little girl lay curled beside her, asleep at last, her small hand resting on her mother's chest. She had cried until her body gave in. The human sat nearby, staring into the blue water. He didn't speak, not yet. The mother finally broke the silence. Her voice was low but clear. "You saved me, twice." He looked up. "Your daughter did that. I just followed." "No, you chose to stay. Most wouldn't." He nodded once. "I'm not most." She smiled faintly. "No, you're not." For a while there was quiet again. Then she turned her head and asked, "Do you know why the hunters chased us?" He shook his head. "They said you were marked, that you broke a bond." She looked at the stars. "I was chosen to be something I didn't want, a bonded queen, a weapon of breeding and power. They used the word mate, but it wasn't love, it was control." The human leaned forward, listening carefully. "I was paired with a high warrior of the Thornblood clan," she continued. "But before the ceremony I escaped. I didn't want a child born in chains." He glanced at the sleeping girl. "But she was still born." "Yes," she whispered. "And she's the reason I survived. She's mine. All mine. And I've kept her hidden all these years. But they found us again and set that trap." She touched the marks on her arms where the vines had pierced. I walked into it willingly. I thought it would be quick, but it was made to drag me out, make me scream so they could catch her too. The human's jaw clenched. That's why they didn't kill you fast, he said. They wanted her to watch. She nodded. But then you came. The human stood and walked to the edge of the spring. His reflection stared back at him, tired, worn, but something else too, something new. He saw faint, glowing lines under his skin, not visible to others yet, but he felt it since the moment he touched the spring with her in his arms. I think something's happening to me, he said. The mother sat up slightly. Her glowing eyes studied him. You've been changed. How? She tapped her fingers on her chest. This place, the spring, it doesn't heal just with water. It uses life. It accepts only those who give. You gave, without wanting anything back. He didn't speak. She looked at her hand. You carry a mark now, not like the hunters. Deeper. You connected to me, to the forest, and to her. He glanced back at the child. She started calling me something earlier. I didn't understand the word. The mother smiled, a sad smile. She called you Vitorak. It means one who stands in the fire. He raised an eyebrow. Is that supposed to be good? In our people's legends, the one who stands in fire becomes the protector of the queen. He laughed softly. I'm no king. Maybe not. But you've already done more than any royal. She paused again. Then slowly she pulled up her sleeve. A strange wound glowed beneath her skin. A jagged scar with pulsing blue veins. What is that? He asked. The bond, she whispered. The real one. It's broken, torn, incomplete. Is that from the one you escaped? Yes, but it's not just a memory, it's a living mark. It weakens me, and unless it's healed. He moved closer. How do you fix it? She looked at him, long, hard, gentle. You already know. His heart skipped. You mean, I have to? No, she said. You don't have to. You must want to. He looked down at her arm. The mark was fading slowly, but not gone. If I complete this bond, he said carefully, what happens to me? Her voice was quiet. You change. You'll share part of my energy, my thoughts. You'll feel what I feel. You may live longer. You may never return to what you were. And if I don't, I keep fading. Slowly. I'll live. But I'll always be hunted. Always weakened. He stared at the wound again. Then, at her. You said you didn't want a forced bond. I still don't, she said. But this time, I'd choose it. She placed her hand gently over his. And I would choose you. The human didn't answer right away. He looked at the child again, sleeping peacefully. Then at the glowing spring. Then at his own hand, where the faint lines under his skin pulsed, like quiet lightning. He closed his eyes and nodded. I choose you too. She exhaled softly, relief washing over her face. She leaned forward and pressed her forehead against his. A warm glow passed between them. Soft, gentle. Not fire, not pain, not demand, just peace. And when she pulled back, the mark on her arm faded completely, leaving only a thin line of light. He touched his own chest and felt the same light settle beneath his skin. They sat together for hours, not speaking. They didn't need to. The bond was forming, slowly, naturally, willingly, and the forest around them was silent, not watching anymore, just protecting. Dawn broke over the alien forest. Golden light poured through the tall trees, cutting through the mist like a warm blade. Birds with translucent wings chirped softly. Strange blossoms opened wide to welcome the sun. The healing spring shimmered like glass. Everything was calm. Everything was new. The alien girl sat on a stone ledge beside the water, kicking her feet and watching small glowing fish swim beneath the surface. She hummed a tune, something her mother used to sing when the stars were clear and the hunters far away. Now her mother was not just alive, she was changing, and the human, he was too. He stood at the far side of the spring, alone, bare-chested, breathing deeply. His muscles ached from the trial, his hands were still bruised, but inside him something had shifted. The glow beneath his skin had settled. No more burning, no more confusion. Just a slow, steady hum, like a distant storm waiting to move. He closed his eyes and touched the ground. It pulsed, not beneath it. With him. Behind him, the alien mother emerged from a grove of silver-leafed trees. Her body had healed. The glowing patterns on her skin were brighter, sharper. Her eyes were calm but powerful. She wore a cloak made of jungle silk and bones, symbols of protection, motherhood, and courage in her culture. She had earned them. Now, without ceremony, without crown, just by surviving and choosing him. She walked to him slowly, stepping barefoot over vines and soft grass. The forest moved with her, quietly parting vines, brushing leaves aside as if it recognized her. He turned when she reached him. They didn't speak. Instead, she raised her hand and pressed it gently to his chest. "You feel it now, don't you?" she asked. He nodded. "It's alive. It's always been," she said. "But now the jungle accepts you." He looked around. "Why?" She tilted her head. "Because you didn't take anything. You gave time, blood, energy, loyalty. And you?" she smiled. "I gave you something else." "What?" She stepped even closer. "A place among us." Suddenly the vines beneath their feet began to glow. They pulled back gently, revealing a narrow path leading deeper into the jungle. The light along the path wasn't bright, it was soft, welcoming. He looked at her. "What's down there?" She took his hand. Only those who are accepted ever see it. They followed the path together, stepping carefully between the roots. The child ran to catch up, laughing. "Wait for me." The vines opened for her too. The jungle wasn't just letting them pass, it was inviting them. The path ended at a clearing. Wasn't large, but it pulsed with energy. At the center stood a giant ancient tree, taller than anything he'd ever seen. Its trunk was wide enough to hold a small house inside. The bark was black, covered in carvings, symbols, stories, and at the base of the tree a circle of stones, each glowing faintly. The alien woman stopped. "This is where the jungle speaks," she whispered. The human stepped into the circle. The moment his foot touched the stone, the light around it flared. Then the next. Then the next. Until the entire circle was lit. The child clapped quietly. "It accepts him." The mother stared at the stones, then back at him. "I've seen warriors try to enter this place before," she said. "They were pushed back. Some never came out again." "Why me?" he asked. She walked beside him. "Because you came for no crown, no throne. You came for a child's cry, for a stranger's life. The jungle sees that." She placed both her hands on the ancient tree. He did the same. Suddenly, images burst into their minds. Visions. The first time she looked at him. The moment she cried, thinking she'd die in the snare. The girl's desperate plea, his hand reaching into danger. The bond, the bite, the spring. The trial. But there was more. He saw a vision of the future. The girl, older, running through a palace with alien human guards beside her. The mother, sitting on a throne made of crystal and vines, and him, standing behind her. Not a king, but something, more powerful, a protector of two worlds. He pulled his hand back, blinking. "What was that?" She looked shaken too, but smiling. "The jungle gave us its vision, what we could become." He looked down at his hands. "But that's not a promise." "No," she said. "It's a path. We must walk it. Together." That night they returned to the spring. The fire crackled softly. The child slept between them, her tiny hands curled like leaves. The human lay back looking at the stars. The alien woman turned toward him. "There is one more thing," she said quietly. He turned his head. She leaned in, her lips near his ear. "You are no longer just human in their eyes. What am I then?" She smiled, warm and full of truth. "You are chosen." Then she kissed him, not out of passion, but peace, a seal of what they had become. Not prey, not runaway, not alone. Family. 3 days later, the jungle that once hunted them now felt like a friend. It whispered in the leaves. It hummed in the roots. It opened when they passed, like a living creature showing respect. The human walked at the front. His clothes were worn, his blade at his side, but his eyes were steady. The faint glow beneath his skin hadn't faded. It had become a part of him now. Beside him walked the alien woman, taller than him, glowing softly. Her steps were graceful, strong. She no longer looked like someone running. She looked like someone returning. And between them danced the little girl, laughing, barefoot, safe. Her small hand kept reaching up to hold both of theirs at once. They reached the edge of the jungle by midday. The sun was bright, the sky clear, and in the open clearing beyond the trees, a ship waited. Large, silver, quiet. Its engines hummed low. The human stopped. "That's not your ship." The woman nodded slowly. "It's theirs. A royal craft, the kind sent only when the High Council needed answers, or when someone was being summoned home." The ship's ramp opened, 6 armored guards stepped down, followed by a tall figure in dark royal robes. Her face was marked with gold lines, and her eyes burned with command. The child gasped. "That's Aunt Vera." The woman nodded. "My sister," the human whispered. "She doesn't look happy." The woman didn't respond. She stepped forward alone, standing tall before her sister. The human stood just behind her, protective but calm. The girl stayed close to both. Vera's voice was cold. "So, the lost one returns," the woman replied, softly. "Not lost, just finished running. You disobeyed the bond. You fled with a child never registered. You vanished into a death world." "And I lived," she replied. "I raised my daughter. I survived the hunters, and I found something stronger than your rules." Vera's eyes shifted to the human. "This one?" He stepped forward. "Yes," Mishi studied him. "A deathworlder, dirty, untrained, not of noble blood. But I bled for them," he said, "fought for them, risked everything." The little girl looked up. "He's my father." That made Vera pause. For the first time, something changed in her face. Not anger, not power. Something like doubt. The woman took her daughter's hand. "He completed the bond, willingly, not by force, not by demand. He gave life to me when mine was leaving." Vera stepped closer. She looked into the human's eyes. "Do you know what you carry inside you now?" she asked. "I know enough," he said. "You carry royal energy, the mark of our bloodline, and if others learn this, you will not be hunted." She leaned forward. "You will be claimed." The woman raised her voice. "He is already claimed. I made the bond true." Vera's gaze returned to her sister. "Then the council will decide." Inside the ship, they were led to a chamber of glass and light. The ceiling showed stars turning slowly above. A circle of elders stood in long robes, their faces old, alien, wise. The woman stood in the center. The child clung to her leg. The human stood to her right. One elder spoke, voice deep and distant. "You return with a human, bound, blood shared, spirit marked." "Why?" The woman answered clearly. "Because the jungle accepted him. Because he healed me. Because he is not just human. He is what our people forgot to value." Another elder asked, "What do you ask of us?" "Let us live," she said, "as a family, without being hunted, without fear." A third voice cut in. "The law was broken. The human finally stepped forward. Then make a new law. All turned to him. He continued steady. You build your rules on bloodlines and arranged mates, but what did that give you? A queen who ran. A daughter born in hiding. A mother who almost died in your trap. He paused. But now, look what we made together. He held out his hand. The woman placed hers on top. The child placed hers over both. 3 hands. One bond, one glow. The circle of elders leaned in. The light from the hands pulsed brighter, spilling across the floor, up the walls, even across the stars above. One elder whispered, "The bond is true." Another softly, "Stronger than tradition," and the oldest one finally nodded. Then let it be written, this human is no longer outsider. His blood carries the queen's light. His soul holds her strength. The decision was made. The bond was accepted. Later that night, in a quiet room on the ship, the little girl sat between her parents. She looked up at them and asked softly, "Are we safe now?" The woman smiled. "Yes." The human nodded. "Wherever we go, together, we'll be safe." The girl looked at her mother's glowing arm. "Will I get marks like yours?" "Someday," she said gently. The girl pointed at the human. "And him?" The woman kissed his cheek. "He already has them. You just can't see them yet." The human smiled. "But I feel them," he said, "every time I hold you both." Weeks later, they stood on a balcony high above the alien capital. Crystal towers sparkled in every direction. Alien ships flew by like birds. The air was clean, calm, but the human still carried his blade. He wasn't a soldier of their world, but he was something they had never seen before. A protector from Earth, a father to an alien child, a mate to a queen, and a symbol of what could happen when one human answered the cry of a small girl in the forest. In the halls of the elders, stories began to spread, of a human who stood in fire, of a queen who chose love over power, of a child who brought them all together. Some called it luck, some called it legend. But for those who knew, it was never luck. It was a bond that echoed through stars.